What's going on, gang? Chavio here. You've decided to play big time, and now you want to know which class you should choose. Today I'm going to explain all about the Time Warrior. Now, when you first load the game up, they're going to ask you which class you want to choose. You're not stuck to that class, so don't feel like it's a big commitment at that point, and I do suggest trying all the classes. In this scenario, you're going to choose the Time Warrior. Now, in the event that you didn't, you can run right up to the starter tower, and they'll have all the starter gear for you there. If you're not familiar with the game, as soon as you load in, you'll be in Watertown. In the background, you'll be able to see a large tower. That's where all your starter gear is. There's 4 little robots at the base of there. If you talk to them, they'll give you any one of the 4 classes starting gear. Here we are at the bottom of the tower. We're going to run up and grab our warrior gear. Chat with Genghis Khan, the Time Warrior trainer. So it's pretty cool that they actually work in historical warriors to be your trainers in the game. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot more of that. And you can actually see Genghis Khan's face on this screen, which is pretty cool. It's a nice detail. All right, so you'll talk to Genghis Khan and he'll give you all of your starter gear. Boom, there you see, got it all on the right-hand side. Now we can go ahead and equip that. You'll hit tab to open up your inventory, and this is the inventory page. On the left-hand side, you'll see something called the timeline. You want to change that to the one you just picked up. So for in our scenario, we're looking for the one that's going to say Starter Pocket Watch, Tier 0, Level 0. Now you can see I have all that starter gear here, so let's go ahead and put it on. Now you're ready to roll. The Time Warrior has 2 main weapons. He has 2 handers, like you see this great sword. He also has some hammers he can pick up along the way. And the other one is going to be a sword and shield. If you hit F, he'll pick that up. And don't forget, you do have a button that allows him to block. If you hit the Q button, you'll actually block behind the shield. This does an amazing amount of protection for you against larger attacks. When you first start, you will be level 0, so you won't have any points for your skills or your stats to put in, but we can take a look at the base skill tree. Again, you're going to hit the tab button to open up, and then you're going to go up to the skill tree area here. You can see on the bottom, these are his base stats. You'll see that he is geared towards strength and vitality. That's because he is meant to sit in the middle of a large battle, being able to take lots of damage and deal out lots of damage. This is your tank. Now let's take a look at the Time Warrior's abilities. Most of his abilities are going to be geared around taking the attention off everybody else so they can heal, revive, or if it's a magic user, so they can all stay behind you and you can be the front line of defense. The rest of the abilities are going to deal with healing yourself, other people around you, and also being able to tank. First up, we have the taunt. The taunt is super important because, again, this is the way you can get all the other mobs to focus on you and leave everybody else alone so they can be doing their attacks, their spells, their ranged attacks, maybe going behind and doing a backstab. So there's lots of other features that all the other characters can do when everybody's focused on you, as long as you're strong enough to take the damage. Next up, we have the Barbarian Shout. And this is kind of another big feature for him. It has a very small cooldown. You can see up in the top, it's only a 15-second cooldown, so you get this attack a lot. It's meant to be used often. And what it does is it sends a shockwave out and affects everybody around you and stuns them. Does a little bit of damage, but mostly stun. You can see the damage here is only 6. The energy cost is 30, radius 1500 to start out with, duration 5 seconds of stun. And you can see down below, what is it good against? It's good against health only, so this will not affect barrier, shielding, or armor. The next ability is the Kick. This one is kind of just like a big boot where you just knock everybody. It does have a chance to weaken, which I think is kind of its main perk. I don't really love this ability, but again, if you're somebody who goes on debuffing, then this isn't bad. The next one is Blood Spray Aura. So this is a great one if you're tanking, you're doing well, and you're causing a lot of damage, but you see that the folks around you or your teammates need some help. You go ahead and you activate this one, and this will allow you to heal all of yours. Now, the next ability we're going to talk about is called Whirlwind, and you can see Whirlwind has some required there. Whirlwind requires you to have 2 points in Barbarian Shout, Blood Spray Aura, and 2 in Taunt. So the way they seem like they want the base of this character to be is 2 points in each of those main ones so you can unlock Whirlwind, because you see it says this is the warrior's ultimate ability, unlashes a whirlwind of death. hold down the key to continue spinning. I didn't realize to hold down the button the whole time for like the first 2 weeks I played the game. Don't make that mistake. Make sure when you use this ability, you actually hold the button down until the character stops spinning. Don't just press it once like all the other abilities, because you'll actually shortchange it and you won't get the full duration. This is a super strong attack, but again, it's only good against health. It's not good against barrier, shielding, or armor. So as you scale through the game and enemies start having blue, yellow, and purple bars, it won't be as good until you break those bars, and then you can use this ability. Only used for the red bar. The next ability is called Into the Breach. Now, this ability, while it is very helpful early in the game, it starts to become not as helpful later, and I will talk about that. But what this one does is it allows, if somebody has poison or fire damage, it gives you additional resistance. So some of the enemies, as they approach the end of their life cycle, they'll go ahead and like have a poison aura around them. So if you want to attack them, you have to be able to soak all that damage or resist it. So what this ability allows you to do is when an enemy triggers that effect, you can still get close to them, because this will give you additional damage. Additional support. Now, the problem is you get an ability later that actually turns that damage into health for you. It's called Unstoppable Shout. It's the best thing for the warrior. So while this ability is good in the beginning of the game, I don't think it really holds up to Unstoppable Shout. However, I do think Unstoppable Shout will get nerfed at some point. But again, we'll talk about some of the later abilities and how to get those abilities a little bit later in this video. The next one we have is Caltrops. This one's okay. I like to use this one with taunt. So you do your taunt and everybody starts chasing after you. Then you place the Caltrop on the ground. And then when they step on it, it actually holds them in place for a period of time. I haven't leveled this one up too high, so it could be super, super strong. A way for everybody to get around behind the unit and attack it while it's stuck there in place. And it does have a pretty small cooldown of only 12 seconds. So I'm going to play around with this one more and I'll let y'all know. But as of right now, this one's not bad, especially if you're playing on your own, because I think it does a great ability to allow the enemy to slow down and get you around behind the enemy behind the defenses. The next ability is called Rend, and this is super important. So as you level up in the game and you start coming across tougher mobs, you'll notice they have different shields called barrier, shield, or armor. These come in purple, yellow, and blue health bars over top of the enemy's red bar. So what you need to be able to do in these scenarios is you need to be able to match your ability or your weapon type against the armor, shielding, or barrier. So if you see an enemy with a purple bar, you need to make sure your weapon or your ability has that purple next to it as well. So this particular skill is for the purple bar. The reason it's so important is because some of the classes can only do one or the other, so it's important to work as a team together and be able to have the ability to take down not only blue, yellow, but also the purple bars to get you down to red, and then be able to get just, standard melee or spell damage will take the red down. If you guys would like to see a video on the armor, shielding, and barrier, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I make that one next. The next ability you see here is Great Sword Mastery. I think this one's pretty important because if you level this one all the way up, which I have done all the way to level 10, it actually gives you, I think, 40 damage boost for your weapon. Pretty significant when you're known as the damage dealer. Another really cool one is Strength Effect. So what they mean here is if you look in your inventory, your different items have different things that they do for you. You see these have melee, min, and max damage. Eventually, you'll start to find items that have strength to them. Now, when you use that ability to go ahead and scale up, what that allows you to do here is anytime you're wearing any item, it will boost that item's strength ability. So say it was giving you 10%, now it's going to give you 11%. And as you continue to go through here and you level all the way up to the bottom, you'll see it'll actually do an extra, I think total is 36%. So that's a pretty good boost. So if you're trying to be strong and you're wearing lots of gear that has strength to it, then it'll really, really boost that gear and you'll get a really strong character. Now, the third one in this pair is going to be also the Health Equipment Mastery. It does the same thing as the first two. It allows you to go ahead and scale way up. So anything you're wearing that is giving you extra health will be boosted. This is another huge one. If you're able to use these and max out your character, these are things that will have you feeling super tanky and dealing tons of damage. For the next one, we have Energy Cost Reduction. These, I think, are nice at the end of the day when you're done leveling your character the way you want them to be and you're looking to get things a little bit more cheap. This is what you start to spend your points on. So to me, this is a little bit later in game. Below it, you have cooldown reduction. And again, I think this is later in game. You build your character, you get them all the abilities you want, and then you start worrying about shortening cooldown. The final one is going to be shield block energy cost reduction. So anytime you use your shield, it does take energy away from you. So eventually, if you run out of energy, no more shielding. What this does is it just allows you to shield more attacks for longer. So guys, here you see the base skill tree. Now that's great. This is where you start. It's an awesome starting point. Now we've talked about pocket watches before. If you haven't seen my pocket watch video, I'll leave the link for you down below. But also, we'll just go over real quickly. This is a tier 0 starter pocket watch. Now let's see what happens when we compare this to, you know, a much higher tier pocket watch called tier 5 that I've continued to level up. So if I'm to equip this pocket watch, I'll get all those additional abilities plus all the additional stat boosts. I have my skill tree fleshed out. Now this is what it looks like when you go down the line. Now what I want to show you here is when you have a higher tier pocket watch, tier 5, you can put more gears in. Each of these gears has abilities. This one comes with a tank subtree and hue. This one comes with a brutality, a weapon mastery, and a bulwark. This one comes with resistance and unstoppable shout. These gears are super important. I strongly recommend getting the highest tier pocket watch you can as soon as possible. Again, you can watch the other video I have on pocket watches and I'll explain how to get them. All right, so let's take a look at the skill tree for this particular character. Now that you can see I have all these additional gears in there. So you can still see the original skill tree starting at taunt and ending at shield block energy cost reduction. Those are all the ones we went over right in here. Now look how many more abilities this character has. I have super thrust over here, and then I have all these on this left-hand side. Now these are all added because I was able to put these gears in. So again, you want to get a higher tier skill, a higher tier pocket watch and get big gears in there with more skill trees. This is going to open you up. So you'll see now I have other ones like a tank one where I can increase my health, my block, my mitigation, movement speed. I can increase the chance of critical attacks. I can do one-hand sworded mastery. You can see I've maxed out one-handed sworded mastery. I've maxed out unstoppable shout. There's all types of things that I think are a way stronger build for the character that get better down the line. So that's why it's so important that you find a good pocket watch and you get good gears for it pretty fast. So what do I think is the best build for the warrior? For me personally, I have to say Unstoppable Shout right now is completely broken and is awesome. Essentially what it allows you to do is anytime you're soaking up small amounts of damage, you turn that into energy. This also affects not only you, but everybody around you as long as they're near you when you go ahead and cast the ability. So everybody's in there, you're taking tons of damage, you see everybody's energy getting low, you use this ability, and all of a sudden you guys are like just super boosted and no one can stop you. It lasts about 30 seconds, and if you have multiple time warriors, you can kind of use it in sync because the cooldown's only 27 seconds and it lasts 18 seconds, you know, so you can see there if you have 2 to 3 of these, you pretty much have Unstoppable Shout the entire time. I do think this ability is going to get nerfed in the future, so don't completely depend off of this, but I think for now it's a really OP ability and it has a way of essentially making so your characters never die. You can also see that I've maxed out my strength equipment mastery. So what this does is it allows me to have an additional 40% boost on all of the things that have strength in them. This has greatly boosted my strength, and you can see that I'm on 251 just by using that. And when you scroll over, you can see my non-damage magic modifier is 221%. This guy is doing insane amounts of damage. So again, you can see I'm choosing items. Look, that one has 11 strength. This one has 34 strength. This one has a large amount of strength as well there. I think that's 20. So you can see when I have all these different strengths put together and then I put that equipment, you know, booster on top of it, all of these things get boosted by an additional 40%, and that's what helps you get up to the 252. So if you're looking to hit a really high strength level, I strongly advise getting gear that is, you know, has strength ability points in it, and then also putting 10 points into that because then it'll boost all this stuff quite a bit more. I could do the same thing for health, and I could do the same thing for one of my weapons, and that is exactly what I've done. I came down here and I maxed out my one-handed sword mastery because that's what I'm currently using right now. So you'll see that I have the ability to have a very strong one-handed weapon. I've maxed out all of my strength stuff, and of course I'm keeping unstoppable shout. So you can see here, I don't have an ability rich character. Essentially what I have made here is a character that has a whole lot of strength and the ability to keep using unstoppable shout. I said before, respecting is pretty easy to do in this game. It only costs 1,000 gold. You can see I have 359,000 gold, so no real issue with respecting as many times as I want. So as they continue to balance out the abilities and continue, they definitely will, I'll just go ahead, respect, continue building my character in different ways, finding different fun ways to play the game. And as of right now, I mean, I think the Time Warrior is a really fun character. Probably my favorite in the game because he's right there in all the action, and that's kind of where I like to be. If you guys found the information in this video helpful, please click the like and subscribe button down below. If you have any other questions about the Time Warrior, feel free to shoot me a message or leave it in the comments below and I'll get to everyone. Be well, stay excellent, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace, I'm out of here.